We've been in business for 66 years and we've created tens of thousands of rolls of microfilm for our clients, but now we do mostly scanning. And I'm gonna tell you why it's time to ditch microfilm and go digital. First are the limitations of microfilm, and the primary limitation is that it's physical. In today's world, everything is digital, you're on computers, it's easier to access things in a digital format. So when you have physical microfilm and you have to use a hard copy record, it just makes things more cumbersome. So you think about what you have to do to find a piece of information on a roll of microfilm, just compare that to clicking around a few times on a computer and find that same information. It's night and day. So that's the first limitation. The second limitation is that it deteriorates. Over time, microfilm can go bad. There are a couple different maladies, diseases that microfilm can get. The primary one is usually vinegar syndrome. Basically, the microfilm starts deteriorating and the chemicals let off sort of a vinegary smell, so it's called vinegar syndrome, and you can smell it when you walk into a room or you open a box of film. But either way, over time, that microfilm can decay and deteriorate, and if you don't scan it or don't preserve it in some way, either you make a duplicate roll or you scan it, you're gonna lose that data forever. That's another limitation of film, is that just long-term decay and decline. The third limitation is that microfilm requires other equipment to read it. So if you have microfilm, you're still using it, or you're familiar with microfilm, you know that you have to get it onto a microfilm reader, or reader printer, reader scanner. They all kind of mean the same thing, but a machine where you put the microfilm on and you scroll around, you spool it on and turn it, and you go find the piece of information you want. So that piece of equipment is required to view the microfilm, or at least in a blown up format, so you can export it, print it, email it, whatever you want to do. And those types of equipment, that type of hardware, is also kind of going out of style. It's fewer places to get it, only a couple companies make those. And when, again, you just compare it to, I scan my microfilm, I have it digitized, I can access it on a computer, or I can keep the microfilm, the physical copies, and buy a piece of hardware to put on my desk to maintain it and keep that up to date and use the microfilm. Going, why would I do that? I should just scan the microfilm and be done with it. And lastly, a limitation is just the knowledge of how microfilm works. From the 50s or 60s through kind of late 80s, 90s, microfilm, a lot of information on microfilm was like the heyday of creating microfilm. But starting in the late 80s, probably early 90s-ish, scanning started becoming more prevalent. So it was kind of a tipping point. Over time became scan more, less creation of films. The people that know about how to use microfilm, how it's organized, what different types of microfilm there are not as many of them around as there used to be. You know, they've retired, they've moved out of their jobs, they've just moved on in general. Those people are not around to really understand microfilm. So as that knowledge becomes less and less part of organizations, just having the physical microfilm is gonna become a burden to your team, because no one will know how to use it or what to really do with it, because just those people are not around anymore. So now we get to the digital side of it, where once you digitize your microfilm, it's more secure, it's more accessible, and it's more scalable. After you've digitized, there are more ways to secure the data than with the physical microfilm. With physical microfilm, maybe having a locked cabinet, a locked room, inside a building somewhere in storage, but there's only so many layers you can have to secure physical records. With the digital records, you have those electronic versions of the microfilm now, and what you can do is apply different types of security, like permissions-based access, only allowing certain people into, let's say, called a data group, to access certain data from that microfilm or from your collection. You can have two-factor, multi-factor authentications to even access the system you're using to hold the data. They need two forms of identification to make sure it's the right person getting in. You can have backup copies of the digital data. With the physical microfilm, you of course could make copies of it, but you think, okay, let's say I have 5,000 rolls of microfilm. Duplicating that microfilm and having a backup copy is another 5,000 rolls. That's a ton of microfilm to have just as a backup. Whereas once you have the digital copy, I could keep the physical version, so that's technically a backup as well. But let's say you get rid of the physical microfilm, you have a digital version. Well, you have systems that back it up and you have multiple copies. Much easier to have multiple copies of digital data than physical records. And then you move into the improved accessibility, which is just accessing the data itself. As I was sort of alluding to before, with digital data, I want to get in, I log in, or however get to the information, I do a search, or I do some sort of index lookup, and I go find the data, I export it as a PDF or print it, and I'm done. Let's say that takes 5 minutes to find, export, do whatever I need to do. With the physical microfilm, if I want something, I'd have to first, I need something from the film. Got to get up, go to a cabinet, go to a different room, maybe call another office that's storing the film, whatever it is. So let's just say it's going to a cabinet. I get up, go to the cabinet, make sure I'm looking in the right cabinet, then look through the different rolls. Okay, there's the label with the film I need. Now I have to go to the machine, scroll around, actually find the image I'm looking for, make sure it's the right image. Maybe it's a 50-page doc. I have to now look at every image, adjust it, export those images, then put the film back, then go to my computer, maybe print it out after that or email it from there, whatever it is. That's gotta be at least 3, 4, 5x the amount of time to handle a physical microfilm than just to be click, 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 I have what I need, I move on with my life, I do what I need to do, and I'm just done. The digital version is also scalable for your team. So with physical copies, let's say they're all located in one room inside a particular building, your folks have to go to that single location to get the microfilm. It's not very scalable. You can't share the information easily. Once the records are digitized, if you have it in a system that allows, again, permissions-based access, data groups, however you want to organize it, you could have multiple people collaborating or accessing that information from various locations all at the same time, which is just streamlining productivity for your team, much more efficient, much more effective. Now we're getting into the costs of not going digital. And the first one is just the physical storage, the physical space. So even if you're not paying for storage, let's go back to that 5,000 rolls of microfilm. Let's assume it's 4 or 5 cabinets taking up space. You may not be paying for storage like at a offsite facility, but it's still taking up room. You're still maintaining those rolls in those cabinets. It's removing space or accessibility from something else that could go there, or just removing those cabinets in general and making those spaces for maybe other workers or some other function for your company. You might be paying for storage, maybe an offsite facility, long-term storage, whatever it is, but even if you're not actually paying for it monetarily, you're paying for it in some way by just losing that space, losing the functionality where you're storing that microfilm. There's also, of course, the cost of the machine. So we talked about having a reader printer or a scanner that you have to view the microfilm. A lot of folks have the old Canons or the Minoltas that they don't make them anymore, so they have to replace those. So now you have to buy, rent, or lease a new machine. Even when you do that, you're gonna have to pay some sort of maintenance contract. So you think, cheaper just to get a machine. I have 500 rolls of film. I'll just get a machine for $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. It's much less than scanning. May not be, because you have to get that machine, then pay the maintenance. And even if you do that, great. Let's say the scanning project costs $15,000 just for fun. Your machine costs $8,000, and let's say it's $1,500 a year for maintenance to keep that machine going. Oh, I'm only paying $9,000 now and then $1,500 a year. That's much less than the $15,000, but you still have to physically use the film. So we talked about on digitize, click, click, click. That's about a minute or two to find something compared to, let's say, 5 or 10 minutes using physical film. Add up those 5 to 10 minutes, however often you're accessing it, and you may be paying your employees or expending your employees' time at a higher cost than just digitizing and being done. Don't think of that initial payment as this is cheaper. You have to think long-term. What is actually gonna cost more and what's better long-term for productivity and effectiveness of my organization? Machines, not the way to go. And then lastly, that cost of maintaining the knowledge of how to use microfilm. If people start retiring or moving on, you have to somehow understand how the microfilm works, what type of microfilm is, how it's organized, because it's not the same as having it already in digital format or something being born digitally. Maintain that knowledge is a cost in itself, and it's something you should consider when you think, do I wanna maintain this knowledge and keep this hard copy microfilm, or it's 2025, I'm just gonna digitize and move on. Let's get digital and be done with the film. If you are interested in digitizing your microfilm, you should check out this video called The Guide to Microfilm Scanning. It's gonna have everything you wanna know about scanning your microfilm. Check it out, the link will be in the description below. Thank you for watching.